Hello everyone, my name is Veer and today we are going to see how we can run Cypress test in Azure Devops pipeline. Okay, so what we are going to do over here is we are going to run our Cypress test where the code is present in GitHub repository, and we'll also try to generate the allure report, and that will be again published to GitHub pages. So before actually creating a pipeline and all those stuff, first we will see what code we are going to run. So for ready reference, what I have done, I have created one sample project with the Cypress latest version, that is Cypress 10.3, and I have added common plugins which are required for generating the allure report. Okay, so let me just quickly try to open the Cypress using the Cypress command. Okay, so what it will do, it will open the Cypress and we'll see how we can run the test manually first, and then we will see the commands that we will use while running the test in uh, Azure DevOps pipeline. Okay, so it may take some time based on your operating system and the speed of your laptop basically. So this is the first UI that you will see when you open the Cypress. Okay, and let's say you wanted to run your test on say Chrome browser, so I'll just click on this button, and what it will do, it will give you the list of files where the tests are present. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to running this particular test, so you just click on this, so it will start executing your test. Okay, so if you can see, it started executing your test on Chrome browser. So basically the website that I used for testing this, it's source demo, uh, source lab demo basically, where try to do login using different users. So that's what the test cases are. Okay, so if you can see, once the execution is done, you will see the test star pass over here. Okay, so this is how you can run it using the Cypress npx cypress open command. Okay, now what we will do, we'll try to run the test using the Cypress run. Okay, in the headless mode basically, and once the execution is done, you will see a some input files generated that are required for allure report. So for that, what command you have to use, you have to use npx cypress run, and you have to specify the environment variable allure equal to true, so that it will, once it executes your test, it will generate one allure results folder. So for ready reference, what I have done, I have run this particular command, and if you can see, this report JSON folder is generated where you can see the different JSON files are present for your execution. Okay, so this is the first step when you wanted to consume the allure report or use the allure report in with the help of Cypress. Okay, and the next command is, based on this allure result folder, you have to generate the actual allure report, that is the HTML file. So for that, you have to use this particular command, npx allure generate allure result, that this is the folder from the input data will be picked up, dash dash clean dash o allure report. So dash dash clean is to clean the existing report folder and regenerate the output. So that's why this particular command is used. Okay, so let me just try to show you how the report looks once once you run those particular commands. So if you can see, it's loading. So if you can see, this is how your allure report will look basically once you execute your test. Okay, so this is how your allure report will execute. So we will see this in action, how we can do it in Azure DevOps. Okay, so before that, what I will do, I will push this particular code onto GitHub. So for that, what I'll do, I'll just initialize the Git repository over here. Okay, and I'll just add, I'll just commit the files, that we wanted to, add it into uh, source code basically, or push it into GitHub repository. Now let's try to commit the files. Okay, so whatever the files that are required, we'll just add to the stage, and then we will just commit those files. Okay, so we require, so we don't require this package.json. We'll need this git ignore. I'll add, then this I will add. The package.json is required. Okay, and then we need these you know files like this one, then the actual test files. Okay, and some corresponding files that are added as part of this project. Okay, just add those files into a stage, and then we will add commit message to this. Okay, now what we will do, we will just add a commit message to this. Okay, so let's say demo repo for Cypress test. Okay, so I have added a commit to this. Now what we will do, we will create one repository on github.com. Okay, so let's just open the GitHub. So I had logged into my GitHub account basically. So here what I will do, I'll just create one repository. Okay, new. So I'll give the name as Cypress dash demo. Okay, it's a public repository. I will not need any readme file or any license. I'll just click on create repository. Okay, now what we will do, we will just we have already created a branch over here, right, master. So what we will do, we will add this remote origin, and then we'll push the code. Okay, so I'll just copy this command, git command basically, and so it will do the remote origin will be added. Now, then what we'll do, we have already branch, so we don't need to use this particular command. We will just push the existing branch that we had already created. So git push dash u origin master. So our branch is master branch, so we will do origin master. So what it will do, it will push your branch onto GitHub. So basically I have credentials added. That's why it didn't ask me for a credential. If you are doing it for the first time, it will ask you for a credential, GitHub credentials basically. So now let's see our code is present over here or not. So whatever the changes that are been done, or the repository code is there, is available on our Git. Okay, so I think we have done with the first part, where you have pushed the existing code that is present for the Cypress onto GitHub. Now, next thing what we have to do, we have to create one, GitHub pages branch, empty branch, where we will be publishing our Cypress allure report basically. Okay, so for that, what I'll do, I'll create one GitHub pages branch locally, and then we will try to push that particular branch onto uh, GitHub. So for that, what you have to do, first of all, you have to create one branch called as GitHub pages. Then we have to do the receipt, okay, for the branch, so that we can push the branch as an empty branch. Okay, so I'll just add one commit message for that, and then we will just push the branch. Okay, so if you can see, we had created one empty branch locally, we had added a commit. Now we'll just try to push this branch onto GitHub. I'll tell you why we need this branch, because we will be publishing our Cypress, the allure report basically generated for our Cypress test onto this GitHub pages branch. So if I just go to the GitHub and if I just check for the branches, I should be able to see GH pages branch as well. So if you can see, there are two branches, GH pages and this one. Okay, now what we will do, I'll just set the, you know, we'll just go to the Cypress demo repository and then settings, and there is an option called as pages. So here, if you can see, the branch has been selected as GH pages. Okay, so we are good over here. Now the last part of your this execution is, we have to create a Azure DevOps pipeline. Okay, so I'll quickly log into my Azure DevOps instance, and from there we can just go ahead. Okay, so I'll just open my Azure DevOps instance over here. Okay, then what you have to do, you have to just click on the pipelines. Then you have to click on new pipeline. Then you have to click on use classic editor. You can either use YAML or use the classic editor. So I will select on use classic editor. Then you have to select the source, okay, from where you are actually getting your code. So we'll be using GitHub for that. Okay, and for this GitHub thing, you have to authorize. Okay, so basically there are two options to authorization. I'll show you that. One is to using OAuth, and the other is to you can create your GitHub personal access token and use that. So this setting I have already done, so I'll just use that. Okay, so if you can see, I had created one this uh, token over here, and I'll just select the repository at Cypress demo, and we will be running, we'll be getting the source code from our master branch, and on that we wanted to run our test. Okay, so here you can either select standard template. So we don't have any standard template, so what we can do, we'll just click on the empty job. Okay, and we will select the agent as a Windows 2019. Okay, so we will give the name as, Cypress UI test, say, for example. Okay, now we'll add some steps or tasks to this particular Cypress UI test job or a pipeline. Okay, so as you might be aware that Cypress is basically a Node.js based framework or a JavaScript based framework. So first thing what we wanted to do is to perform the npm install, where what we will do, we will download all the dependencies that are required for running our Cypress test. So this will be our first task. Then the next task will be is to run our test. So again it will be a npm command, right? So I'll add one more npm command, and here we will see a run test. So I'll show you from where we are seeing that. So if you can see, we had added a scripts right in our package.json which says test. Test, what test is actually going to execute your all the test. Okay, so this is the so internally it will use this npx cypress run environment dash dash environment allure equal to true. So this command will be executed internally when you say run test. Similarly, we need to, once the test execution is completed, we need to generate a allure report. So again I will do one more command, basically npm command, that will instead of this, what it will do, it will just run report. So again here, instead of install, it will be a custom command that will run your test. Okay, and once this execution is done, we wanted to publish our report to uh, github pages, right? So we will add the last step as a github publish to github pages. So that will be our last task. So here what we have to specify, what details or documents or the files that you want to publish to github pages. So that will be part of your allure dash report. So this is the folder which got generated once you execute the allure generate command, and we wanted to copy all the content of it. Okay, additionally what you need to specify is you have to specify your github username, then github email address, then you have to specify your github repository. So this is my repository, right? So I will specify that. Over here. Okay, then what you have to specify your token as well. So I'll just copy that token. Okay, and just add a commit message saying that generate allure report for Cypress test. Okay, so this is uh, the commit message that will be added to your GitHub repository once the execution is completed. So I'll just click on save and queue, and just click on save and run. So what it will do, it will start executing your Cypress test basically. So if you can see, it has started the job basically. So first of all, what it will do, it will pull your all the source code from GitHub, okay, on this particular build agent that we had specified. Then it will start installing your uh, all the dependencies that are required for your Cypress execution, right? So it will perform all those steps, like in package.json you had mentioned, like you need to install the Cypress version. Okay, then you have to install the Cypress plugin and the Cypress allure command line one. So all these dependencies will be downloaded once with the npm install command. Okay, so it may take some time. So what I will do, I'll pause this video for a time being. Okay, and now you can see that npm install task is completed. Now it has started executing our test. Okay, so if you can see, it has started executing the run test command. So I'll just try to refresh this particular page. Let's see what is the progress that is happening. So if you can see, the test execution is also done. Okay, and now let's see the next step. whether it is generating a report or not. So if you can see, the report is also generated. Okay, now if you can see, this publish to GitHub pages task is also completed. Okay, so the execution for the job or the pipeline is done. Now let's see what it happened on, the GitHub pages basically. Okay, so let's try to open this particular URL and let's see whether we can see the allure report or not. So if you can see, still we are not able to see the reports. Okay, over here. Okay, now let's try to verify whether deployment is successful or not. So if you can see, it is still happening, the deployment. Okay, the pages thing, it is not yet deployed. So let's wait for couple of minutes to complete this deployment, and let's try to refresh the page once the execution is done. Okay, now let's if you can see now, the this page deployment is done. Okay, now let's try to refresh this particular page, and if you can see, we are able to see the allure report published over here. Okay, so this is how you can perform or run your Cypress test using Azure DevOps, and you can publish your test result back to your GitHub pages. Okay, and also what you can do is you can give a meaningful name to your steps as well. So what I'll do, I'll just click on this edit pipeline. Okay, and the steps that we had created, right? So I'll just try to rename those steps. Okay, so npm install, let's say make it as a Cypress install. Okay, then make this as a run Cypress test, and make it as a generate report. So it is more clear to you that what steps basically we are trying to execute. So I'll just save and queue again. Okay, so it will ask me to save this, and basically it will trigger the execution again. We'll just see the how the steps will look over here, and then uh, you know I'll pause the video and I'll come back once the execution is finished. Okay, and then we will see the again the report is generated or not. Okay. Okay, so currently the timing is 1940 to 59. Okay, so this is the timing. Now if you can see, it has given a meaningful name to each and every task or a stage, right? Like Cypress install, run Cypress test, generate report, and publish to GitHub pages. Okay, so by the time the execution gets complete, I'll pause the video. Now if you can see, the execution is completed, all the stages are completed. Now let's try to see the page. Okay, on GitHub pages, how it looks. So if you can see, the test execution is completed successfully.